Hello everyone, this is Dr. Nitika Gupta, your tutor for today, and today we are going to talk about the topic on physiotherapy assessment in neurological conditions. I hope this video is of help to you. First of all, we have to note down the demographic data. This is the subjective information about the patient, which includes his name, age, gender, address, his phone number, etc. Next, we have to note down the chief complaint, which is noted in patient's own language. Third, we have to note down the history. History is very important. In the present history, we have to note down the series of events which has taken place, which is in relevance to the present situation. For example, if the patient has met with a road traffic accident, then we have to note down when was the accident happened, then he was taken to the hospital, or any operation was done, or the medications he has been taken since then up to the present date. After the present history, the past history is noted, and that should also be in relevance to the present history. Means, for example, if the patient has met with the brain attack at present, and he has similar incidents a few years back also, then that is of relevance to the present history, that should be noted in detail. For the medical history, we have to note down his drug, surgical, or physiotherapy treatment. What are the details we have to note down? For the family history, we have to note down, it is very important because we will come to know any genetic predisposition. For example, if the patient is hypertensive or diabetic, if these things are prevailing in his family also, so they are of very important. Next, social history. In this, we must know what is the patient's occupation. Is he doing some sedentary activity, or some extraneous activity, and whether the patient is consuming alcohol occasionally, or he's a chain smoker, or something of that sort, we have to note down in detail. Next, for the fourth point, we must note down the present vitals of the patient. We have to monitor his temperature, pulse, respiratory rate, and blood pressure. Fifth, on observation, we have to note down the mode of entry, how the patient entered your department. For example, he was carried out by some individual, if the child's mother is carrying him in her laps, or if the patient is walking with the crutch, or he has entered with wheelchair. So mode of entry is very important. Next, build should be noted. What is the build? Ectomorphic, endomorphic, mesomorphic should be noted. Skin color determines a lot. We have to note down whether the skin color is normal, or pale, or blue discoloration. Next, walking patterns are noted. Uh, any gait deformities, walking aids if he's using. This tells a lot about the deformity, if any, or limb length discrepancy. If we come to know about any deformity, then we have to do detailed assessment and note down these things. Then edema, atrophy, scar, involuntary movements should be noted. Tube intubation, for example, if the patient is on catheter, urinary catheter, or is on drip, or any implantation has been done, so that should be noted in detail. Next, in 6 point, we have to note down the attitude of all four limbs, which can be noted in supine, or sitting, or in standing position. This is very important because if there is any relevant synergy pattern, or any specific synergy pattern he is following, we will come to know. For the seventh point, on palpation, it is very important. After we have observed the patient, we can now palpate the patient to determine if he's having pain or tenderness. We can note the pain and tenderness by using NPRS and VAS scales. We should know whether the pain was constant or intermittent. What are the relieving factors or aggravating factors? Is the pain improving, or stagnant, or increasing? What time of the day is having pain? If it is in the morning, it means the there are high chances of inflammatory disease. If the patient is having pain during night, then there are high chances that he's having pain because of fatigue. Next, temperature should be noted, and because we want to note the warmth of the skin, and it can be noted with the dorsum of the hand. Edema, whether the patient is having pitting edema or non-pitting edema, it is checked. We can come to know about the chronicity of the disease. Next, spasm is noted, deformity is noted, whether it is fixed or flexible. So if it is flexible, it can be treated with physiotherapy, but if it is rigid deformity, then it might require some surgical management. Then texture of skin is noted, whether it is dry, scaly or smooth. Next, higher functions are noted, about the consciousness, comfort, and cooperation of the patient. Orientation is noted with respect to time, place, and person. The person is asked what time of the day is it? Is it day or night? Whom is he talking to? Is he talking to the therapist or some family member? And what place is he sitting at? Is he at home or at a hospital? So we will come to know about his orientation. Next, memory is noted. Short term and long term memory is noted. For the short term, we can ask, for example, what he ate for the morning breakfast, and for the long term memory, we can ask when was he born, or how many children he has. For likewise, for example, if the patient has suffered from road traffic accidents, so there are chances that his long term memory will be intact, but maybe he's forgetting his short term memory, so we have to note. Speech and hearing defects are also noted, they are very important. Next, in higher functions, we also have to note the cranial nerve examination and Glasgow Coma scale. Now, the present slide shows the cranial nerve examination. There are 12 pairs of cranial nerves, and some are sensory, some are motor, some are mixed nerves. First cranial nerve is olfactory nerve, which is a sensory nerve of smell. So we can tell the patient to smell, for example, we can give him some perfume or coffee or tea, and ask him to smell that thing, and each nostril can be checked simultaneously. Second cranial nerve is optic, which is a sensory nerve, and in this field of vision or visual acuity or various visual reflexes like light reflex, consensual light reflex, corneal reflex, pupillary reflexes can be checked. For the third, fourth, and sixth cranial nerve, they are motor nerves, and in this, the movement of eye muscles are checked. In the fifth cranial nerve, that is trigeminal, it is a mixed nerve. In this, we have to check for the motor part, we have to ask the patient to clench his teeth, and with this way we can check the masseter and temporalis muscle function. And for the sensory function, we can check the sensation of touch and pain on the patient's face. Next is the seventh cranial nerve, facial nerve, which is also a mixed nerve. And in this, facial expressions are checked. We can ask the patient to clench his teeth, and to raise his eyebrows, and close his eyes, and we can check nasal flare, etc. And for the sensory part, we can check the taste sensations, corneal reflexes, etc. For the eighth cranial nerve, that is vestibulocochlear, which is a sensory nerve, we can check two things. First is hearing with the help of Rene's test, Weber's test, and second is balance, which can be checked by balance test. Now, ninth and 10th nerves are both both nerves are mixed nerves, and in this, gag reflex and swallowing functions are checked. For the 11th cranial nerve, that is spinal accessory, which is a motor nerve, shoulder movements and head rotation is checked. For the 12th cranial nerve, that is motor nerve, tongue movements are checked. Next is the Glasgow Coma scale. This is checked during if the patient is unconscious, or if the patient has received some head injuries, then this scale is very important. It has various scores. We check the eye response, verbal response, and motor response. Minimum score is 3 and maximum score is 15. Next, these are the examination tools which are required for the sensory examination. Now, the sensory examination, we have to see the superficial, deep, and combined cortical sensations. For the superficial sensations, exteroreceptors are responsible, and we check the pain, temperature, light, touch, pressure. In the deep sensations, proprioceptors are responsible, and we check the proprioception, kinesthetic sensation, and vibration. In combined cortical, both exteroreceptors and proprioceptors are responsible, and we check the sterognosis, barognosis, 2 point discrimination, graphesthesia, etc. Next is the testing environment for the sensory examination. We must place the patient in a quiet and well lit treatment area. The patient should be comfortable either in sitting or in lying position. Modalities which are required should be handy and they are available, and the part to be checked should be exposed, and the patient is blindfolded, which is very important. Localization is done by using dermatomes and myotomes. For the pain sensation, we can use the safety pin or paper clip, but they should not be sharp because we don't want to puncture the patient's skin. They are applied in perpendicular fashion on patient's skin in random manner, and response is noted. Second, for the temperature sensation, we take two test tubes which are having one with warm water and one with cold water, and we will place these test tubes on patient's skin, and we will determine whether he can recognize the hot and cold temperatures. For the third point, light touch or camel brush or cotton tissue can be taken, and that is stroked on the patient's skin, and response is noted. For the fourth point, pressure, fingertip or double tipped cotton swab can be taken and applied pressure, and response is noted. For the fifth point, vibration sense is noted by vibrating tuning fork, which is applied over the bony prominences. Sixth point, commonly used things like comb, pen, keys, they are taken and they are placed on patient's hand, and the patient is asked to close his eyes and manipulate the things with his hands, and he will then recognize what things are they. Seventh point is tactile localization, in which the patient will identify the location of the stimulus. Next slide shows the dermatomes and myotomes. Eighth point is kinesthetic sensation, in which joint mobility is checked. Ninth point is proprioception, in which joint position is checked. 2 point discrimination, in which two stimulus are applied. They can be applied in a random manner or simultaneously, and the patient will have to identify whether the stimulus is one or two. 11th point is graphesthesia, in which the patient will have to recognize the numbers and letters or alphabets which are written on his skin. 12th point is barognosis, which is the ability to identify the difference in weight. We will put some objects of same sizes and same shape, but with graduated weights in their hand, and patient will try to differentiate the difference in the weight. 10th point is the motor examination. In this, range of motion of the joint is checked. First, active range of motion, which is followed by passive range of motion. End feel is checked, which can be hard, firm, soft, or empty. Tone is very important. If the tone of muscle is decreased, or if it is normal, then we go for manual muscle testing. And if the tone of the muscle is increased, then we go for the modified Ashworth scale. Now this scale shows the manual muscle testing, which grades from 0 to 5. 0 grade is no contraction, and 5 grade is full range of motion with against gravity with maximal resistance. Now this slide shows modified Ashworth scale, which ranges from 0 to 4. 0 is no increase in muscle tone, and 4 is affected part remains in flexion or extension. Now this is the grading for reflexes. It ranges from +1, +2, +3, +4. +1 means the patient's joint does not responses to any stimulus. +2 is normal response, +3 is increased response, and +4 is pathological response, and the patient's limb is held in clonus. 11th point is reflexes in the superficial and deep tendon reflexes are noted. 12th point is functional evaluation. We have to determine whether the patient can roll over on his bed, or if he can transit from supine to sitting position, or from sitting position to standing position, or he can stand quietly, or he can walk. These things can are noted. In the 13 point, we have to note down the activities of daily living he can do by himself, like brushing, toileting, clothing, eating, etc. In the 14th point, we have to note down the balance. Static balance and dynamic balances are noted. There are a series of tests which are required to be done. For the 15th point, we have to note down the coordination. Both equilibrium and non-equilibrium tests are noted. Similarly, there are also series of tests which are needed to be done. In the 16th point, other systems are checked if any abnormality is present in other systems like respiratory, circulatory, skin. Then we have to do the detailed assessment of those systems and uh, note down them. And in the last point, we have to note down any investigations and reports we have got, so they are also noted. Thank you.